to another video podcast. This is Misa.
This is Yuka.
And welcome to the Misa podcast. Welcome to another video podcast of the week. If you are new here, we are two sisters born in Japan, raised in the States. And on this podcast, we talk about random stuff that we relate to each week and you hope you relate to as well. So before we start the podcast, we always have a show and tell time where we share our favorite things of the week. And today we have apple juice. I know, but this is not just an apple juice. We just went to Aomori Prefecture, which is like the north of Japan, and they have the best apples there.
Yes.
And
there are so many different types of apples.
Really different types. Like if you're in the States, like there are many different types of apples.
Yeah, but apple
juice
is called apple juice, you know? And
what?
then apple juice is called just apple juice.
Right.
But this is an apple juice, but this is just made out of different types of apples. And so they have different names. Like, what is it? Toki. Do you have Toki?
No, I don't have Toki. But so Aomori Prefecture is like really famous for their apples. And if you go to the United States, like there's a lot of different types of apples. But this is on a different game.
So that's what I just said.
Mo, you said apple juice is our apple juice
in the States, yeah. But here, these are two different types. There's a lot of different types of apples.
Right.
And therefore, this is not just an apple juice.
Yeah, this is the different types of apples. And we got... we actually, we had to actually try 10 different apple juices.
Like 10 different plus, apple juice.
Yeah. And we got the best ones.
Yeah.
I really like the Orin っていうやつと and 黄金富士 I don't know how to
Ogon.
No, it's なんか違うやつだよ I tried to say 黄金 he corrected me. Anyways, we are gonna try it. I think I want to try this one.
Okay,
Orin.
So, 黄金富士だ。
あ、黄金富士だ。
ミッサー I'm just kidding.
Oh, すっごい香りがいい匂い
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. Man. We're just trying one for you guys. Because the other one I want to savor it for my own. めっちゃ香りがいい匂い It smells so good.
I know. Wow.
Oh, these are the sweetest. This is the sweetest. すごく飲みやすくてすっごく美味しいよね。
王林がすごい一番スイートだった気がする。And then there's other types which one did mom get紅なんてな。
紅玉。紅って書いて紅って呼んで紅玉。紅玉って書いて紅玉ってやつ。
And that one's more sour. And
yeah. Tangy. Very vitamin C. 美味しいでしょこれは500円、700円ぐらい。
760
円とかそんな感じ。
Something around there. But it's premier apple juice.
Yeah, I feel rich drinking this.
Yeah. This is such a great gift, to be honest.
That's right.
I wish we can buy this online. If we find
if we find the link online,
we will share it with you.
Yeah. But we actually talked to the person who was making this.
Yeah, it was Nokkedon no Ichiba. It's a really famous Ichiba if you look it up. Aomori.
Please just look it up. We're not gonna link it.
Ichiba. That's where all the Nokkedon is famous place for Nokkedon, and they have a lot of different types of they have a lot of different types of fish and a dried seafood as well, ika toka. Anyways, they also have this.
I had to clean this. My OCD that I need.
黄金富士。これもめちゃくちゃ美味しい。I got 黄金富士 and Toki.
Yes, so these were the apples that we got, apple juices that we got from Aomori. Yay! We're back. So what is today's topic, Yuka?
Today's topic is about like how to make a really great life.
That's a nice topic. And also, I feel like there are a lot of, I wish we can like talk to like Harvard professors about this.
I know.
They actually study this.
Instead, we just have to talk between us.
I know. I would like, yeah, that'd be so cool if we can bring someone on, like an expert, to talk about how to have a great life.
Yeah.
So why? Because this is actually Yuka's pick.
Yeah, she always has to like bring the responsibility upon me. She's like, this is actually Yuka's idea.
Yeah, Yuka's idea. Isn't it nice to have, Yuka giving out great ideas all the time?
That's
right?
funny. You don't have to call me out.
So why did you pick this topic?
I was just like kind of thinking, like, how do you make your life so great and rich when you have to be working until you're, I don't know, 60?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe before if you like can save up and retire earlier, but around like 60, right? And then you're working, you're hustling.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you make your life so rich? Not in money, maybe in money too, but what makes like a good life is just like, has been on my mind. I'm like Buddha.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Do you think you have a good life right now, like a rich life? From 1 to 10, how do you think you are?
I think I'm like a 6.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, yeah, I think I'm a 6 too. Right. So I think, like, I've read somewhere, but the 3 things that you, like, they are, like, musts to have a happy life. The 3 things is, like, health.
Really?
Health?
Yes.
Having, like, no conflict between people. And then, not wealth, but, like, money.
Right.
Those are the 3 things, because like you can't be like super super happy without any of these missing. Yeah, because like you can be super healthy and you can be super happy, but you won't be like truly happy if you don't have like money and you're like poor.
Right.
And then even if you have like a lot of money and you are like you have a lot of people that you love around you, if you're not healthy, you're not happy. Right. So it's like just 3 things that you actually need to have a really happy life. And if you're not happy, even with that, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe it's your outlook.
The perspective?
Yeah, the perspective. Like if you can be like grateful for the small things. Sometimes I am not a grateful person to be living in this house. Right?
Yeah.
And when I think about it, I could be living in a better house.
Yeah.
Is sometimes what I think.
Right.
Yeah. So I really think like, and I was like listening to a different podcast the other day, you have to be like grateful.
Thanks for the quote.
Be grateful. No, because I say it like that because everyone's going to roll their eyes.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, grateful. Like to be grateful for everything.
Yeah.
I already am grateful for this small things. maybe not. Maybe I need to practice it.
Yeah. I just see a pattern in life.
Oh, wow. I would love to hear Buddha Yuka.
It's just it's a template, right? You graduate college or you go to school and then you start working and then you get married, you have kids, you buy a house, and then you retire. It seems like a template. And I just see where I'm headed to. Whether or not I can head towards that is a different story. But it's just like, it's very clear of what life should look like. And I find that to be boring.
Okay, you don't like that.
Like, I can change my environment as many times as I want, but that template is not going to go away, I feel like. So how do you make a good life?
You know this like thing that we learned in school, Maslow's hierarchy of needs? Do you know?
No.
Really?
I don't know that.
Really? マズローの欲求階層説。 Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
싫어하나?
So Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a psychological theory depicted as a pyramid of human motivation. So like these are like what people are motivated by to live. The first is like psychological safe needs, like having air, water, food, shelter. It's like a pyramid. The very like the basic needs is like psychological needs like food, water, air, shelter, sleep, clothing, and warmth. The second one is safety needs. So personal security, emotional stability, financial security like employment, health, and protection from harm. Number 3 is love and belongingness. So friendships, intimacy, trust, acceptance, receiving and giving affection, being part of a group like a family, friends. The fourth one is esteem needs. So having achievement, mastery, independence, or desire for status or like recognition, being respected. And the very last one, which is it's like the very tip of the pyramid, is like self-actualization needs. So like personal growth, とか pursuing creative activities and seeking peak experiences.
Yeah, that one.
This one. So this is a first world problem.
Really?
I think this is the first world problem where I guess like a lot of developed countries, we have the shelter, we have the education, and now you're seeking for this like need self-actualization where you're like, okay, what could be of my life, right? Having all the stuff in the first place. So I think you're in like this a question of how do I fulfill this need for self-actualization, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm around there.
You're
yes.
around there.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And
That's
I'm
a really-
wondering if it's like because of my age, it's like a weird range, right? Where it's like a range of turning from 20 to 30. And then 30 is like kind of where you have things figured out.
Right, and you settle.
Yeah, it's like a new chapter kind of. Like you're flipping a new chapter. And you're settling. And so maybe I'm in that like weird phase where I'm like, I should be settling, but I'm like, I don't want to, you know?
Right.
It's like that push and pull. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Right. Like the settling part that you just said. I feel like a lot of people kind of sometimes just want to settle. And I don't want to say like give up on their dreams or anything, but yeah, they don't give up, but they say like it's not the timing right now. And then they focus on family and like having kids. And then there's like other kind of people, they don't settle and they kind of do both, right? And then there's this like, I guess like there are 3 types. And then there's this, the very last type where they kind of just give up on family and kids and then they focus on their dreams and they don't settle, right? I think they're all good. They're all like fine. There's like no right or wrong. And I think that is the hardest part about growing up because people go in like so many different directions and then you don't know what is like right or wrong for you.
Right.
Don't you think so? Because like maybe up until maybe college, graduating college, you guys are all kind of doing the same things. And so you're like, oh yeah, I'm on the right path. And you have a black and white answer, right? But then after that, it's like after maybe 25 or you're approaching your 30s or even after 30s, I talk to a lot of my friends who are in their 30s or even 40s. And then they say at that age point, there are just so many people having so many different directions in life. And it's so hard.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you feel behind and then because the grass is always greener on the other side, but the grass is always not that greener.
Yeah.
Don't you think so?
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like you're just hopping onto another grass.
Yeah, and then
It's the same grass.
It's the same grass, but seriously, the grass is not greener on the other side. It's the same.
Yeah.
So, but sometimes you just kind of feel like the grass is greener on the other side, and that's why you kind of start comparing your life to others, and then you're like, oh, that's cool. You know, and then you look at like another of your friends having a family already and you meet their kids and you're like, oh, she's so cute. He's so cute. I want babies. And then you see another friend hustling and building her own company, right? And you're like, oh, that's so cool. And then you kind of forget like what you actually want.
Right.
Don't you think
Yeah.
so? That's how I feel.
Thank you for sharing.
Because sharing is caring.
Yeah, that's true. Like there's just so many ways that you can do life.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it is not a template. There is a template, but you
There
can either
is.
go up or down.
Yeah.
You know?
And one thing that I kind of abide by now, because one of my friends actually told me, I actually met her maybe 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was just starting off my content thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was also teaching dance, and then I was also like teaching English too. And I was what else? I was like doing other like volunteer activities. I was doing a lot. I had a lot on my plate.
Mm-hmm.
And I always see myself as like a person who does too many things, and I need to cut back, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, she told me recently, like she told me like, yeah, Misa, when I saw you, I like realized that you could be doing everything, and you don't have to give up on all the stuff.
Really?
Yeah, she told me that, and I was
Really?
like, right. I could be doing many things, and I don't have to be like, oh, because I'm this age, or I'm doing whatever. Like I can't do this. Like you could be like not giving up on anything, and you could kind of be doing everything.
I mean, that's true. Like you can be doing anything. I think age doesn't matter, but realistically speaking, you do need to cut back on the numbers. The numbers that you're like, the things on your plate.
Right.
It is full. And you need to understand how full it is.
Right.
You know, it's not about like, oh, because of your age, you can't do that. You need to take it off your plate.
Mm-hmm. But also, like, I also don't want to be like, oh, because I have this going on, I should give up on that. Sometimes, yeah, if you have no time to sleep or eat.
Yeah, maybe you
definitely
need to get a bigger plate then.
Yeah, and then I think the only way to get a bigger plate is to get used to the plate. And then like get it bigger. No, seriously.
That's true.
The only way to have a bigger plate in you is to be used to this plate, and you're like, oh, I can actually handle everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because one time I cut back on a lot of things, right?
And you were bored.
And I realized that I was like, I had the same amount of time given, but I was still like, I was doing less than I used to.
Mm-hmm. Right. Hustling is for you.
Yeah. Maybe it depends on the person.
Yeah.
Personality type.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I think, like, what if you changed your environment?
Mm-hmm.
Because you live in the city right now.
Right.
You live in Japan, a country called Japan.
Right.
Where there's a lot of things. You can fill your time with anything, basically, if you just walk around or travel a little bit. But what if you moved your location to maybe the States?
Right.
In the suburbs.
In the suburbs.
Yes.
Uh-oh, that's where I came from.
How would you, like, spend your time?
How would I spend my time?
Yeah, how would you make your life rich?
I would do...
Do you think it matters where you...
I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters. And what I did... So I will just talk through experience, not like hypothetical situations, because I think that's a waste of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't just
hypothetical things. Waste of time.
Waste
Throw
of
it
time.
out the window.
Throw it out the window.
Uh-huh.
When I stayed in America, like in the States, at home, I think it was like 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. I think I was there for a month. I had nothing to do, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I could take content, and I had some English classes here and there, but I wasn't really doing much. And I started to make content. I went into the garden and started like watering the flowers and like the vegetables.
Oh, yes.
And then I created like such funny content. Like it was no PR. It was just like out of passion because I wanted to create the gardening video. And that was so funny. I think I love that video. And also,
that was funny.
I also started making mac and cheese. And I actually didn't create this video, but I filmed it. And that was really fun for me. So when I got to an extreme point of boredom, I I did what I really wanted to do. That was fun. Because in Japan, you're so close to your people. So everyone's always like, hey, let's hang out. You know, let's do this together. Like, I need your help here. And I feel like I'm a little bit like, I don't prioritize myself that much. But in the States, there was like no one. And it was in the suburbs, right? And I don't have a car and I can't drive because my eyes are really bad. So I couldn't go anywhere. I was at home. I just went into the garden, you know, watering the vegetables that mom had. And I made a video and I acted out being a teacher.
Right.
That was fun.
That was so funny.
I think that was so funny.
That was really funny. I see. So boredom actually brings something.
I think so. And then you can ask yourself, like, okay, I can't be bored all the time. I need to do something. And then it pushes you sometimes to kind of go back to who you really are.
Wow, that is beautiful.
So people might need to be bored sometimes.
Yeah, right.
Right?
That's
and
true.
What do I do when I'm bored at home here? I still film, and that's like my funnest day. Like by myself. It's really sad, but it's like there's like a sense of fulfillment for me if I can film, or I'll do a lip syncing thing on TikTok and it's really fun. And it's just like my day, you know?
That's true. So maybe the environment doesn't really have anything to do.
I really think so, because sometimes I go traveling, you know, we just went traveling. But it does, you know, give you a new perspective. And when you come back, you're really refreshed. But I don't know if it really changes anything.
Yeah.
Don't you think so? Like, what if you're grumpy when you're traveling? Nothing changes.
Yeah.
I think it's your attitude.
Right.
Your everyday attitude is very important.
That is so true. So maybe our attitude back in the suburbs were not that great, you know?
Yeah, we were like, it's so boring here.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, if you go traveling and if you go to places, you just see different things and you feel different things. And that's why your values, like, that's how your values get built, you know? So I feel like, I think it was, I guess, inevitable that we were feeling that way when we were in the suburbs. Suburbs not meaning like Inaka or anything.
Yeah.
We weren't in a rural area. That's a really hard word to pronounce. Rural.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we're finishing up the podcast. Thank you so much for listening until the very end. As usual, if you listen until the very, very end, please leave a comment or an emoji so that we know that you listen until the very end. And also, it motivates us. And we're just really happy to receive the comments. All right. And if you have not subscribed yet to this channel, it does say that 50% of you who watch our videos, are not subscribed yet to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel, because it always helps grow our podcast and also
Our motivation,
and also like to spread the podcast as well. All right, so thank you so much for watching until the very end. I hope you guys have a great day
and a great life.
I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.